I don't remember how to fix it.
Did you?
You just said GG to me. I don't know what you clicked on. I click on a bunch of stuff.
Hello. Oh, man.
Hello, hello, hello. Just making sure I'm loud enough. Because sometimes I'm surprisingly not loud enough. What about from here? Yes, fine. I know I said around 7, and it's almost 8. Well, yeah, me and the IT manager's boss had us working overtime. And he screamed for about an hour. So, yeah, there's not much I can do about that. But I do apologize. I was trying to be punctual where I can. And yeah, my hair is wet. So, it's one of those days. My hair is wet. I've got a blanket around me for comfort. I'm very comforted. I've had McDonald's. Well, me and the IT manager had McDonald's. So I'm going. I'm ready. Now, every time I do these, sometimes we come across things which are, at the very least, anti-Semitic. And how they are still posted online, on Meta specifically, is beyond me. So, I do apologize in advance if we do see anything that is that, and I will do my best to report it. But unfortunately, I can't monitor the internet. I can't tell the internet that's not nice. Don't post that. I don't know if I could, but no. But listen, such is the nature of most conspiracy theory things. I feel like if we're gonna come across that, it'll appear when we're looking into strawman fallacies. Only because I know absolutely nothing about metacognition. I had never heard of it before. Before someone I know in real life, outside, was like, I recommend you look into that. And I was like, I will. So, I know nothing. Know nothing, haven't heard nothing. We'll see what it is in a minute. Because I think I drank that a bit too quick and I've given myself a tiny brain freeze. And I'm just, there we are. Before we do anything, it's been a day. So we need to receive guidance from the Bob's Burgers Burger guidance. And I could feel him rolling his eyes down there, the IT manager, and he can shut up. So we'll see. If we get the alright, that means we're gonna have a great time. We'll see. Was that a child noise I heard, Mary? No, something outside. Oh god, alright.
Oh, it's okay. I guess I wasn't meant to have a good life.
That doesn't bode well. But we'll see. Okay, so I'm ready. Let's do this. I got the old Google on DuckDuckGo. What is metacognition? Oh, I probably spelled it minus AI. Oh! So it's one word. This whole time I've been two-worded. That's silliness. Okay. So first, before we start opening links, we're going to look at them. CambridgeCommunity.org. Interesting. BBC Bite Size. Let's have a look. Oh, there's a YouTube video there. We may watch that from the Education Endowment Foundation. Fancy. Geographical Association. Chartered College of Teaching. Catalyst Psychology. Adult Education and Literacy. Oh, there's a fact sheet. Okay. To save... We'll start with this YouTube video. Put my headphones on. Because it's 3 minutes. Oh my god, watch there be ads now. Turn on Duck Player. Okay.
Developing independent learning habits is undoubtedly a challenge. Evidence tells us that building the explicit teaching of metacognition into our daily teaching habits can support pupils to think about their own learning more explicitly. Helping pupils to know what to do when faced with a learning challenge can lead to more independent learning behaviours. Adam is stuck. His teacher has asked him to complete a maths problem independently. He doesn't know where to begin, quickly loses motivation, and becomes distracted. He lacks the confidence to know what to do next. Teachers can support learners like Adam to become more metacognitive in their thinking. Understanding and developing a shared language for the metacognitive process is a key factor in translating the evidence on metacognition into practice. Metacognitive knowledge refers to knowledge of task, the type of activity, knowledge of strategies, what strategies might be useful, and knowledge of self, awareness of our own abilities and emotions. Metacognitive regulation kicks in when we apply and adapt this knowledge to a learning task, and can be broken down into 3 stages. Planning how we are going to tackle a task, monitoring our progress and adapting where necessary, and evaluation of our overall success. The arrows are key here, as this is a cyclical process. To understand the way in which teachers can support pupils to be metacognitive, it's useful to think about what this looks like in practice. Let's look at Adam's thoughts if he were to approach the question metacognitively. First, he will need to activate his knowledge of the task, strategies, and self. Last time I solved a similar problem, I drew a visual representation to help me understand it. What are the different ways I could approach this? What are the advantages and disadvantages of these? I found this bit challenging last time. I'll need to take my time and check each step as I go. I'll use the available resources to help me if I get stuck. For many students, becoming a self-regulated learner does not happen automatically. Asking Adam if he has seen a similar problem before will remind him to activate his prior knowledge. Inquiring about the steps he will need to take to be successful might prompt him to put a plan in place. Encouraging him to reflect on the success of his chosen approach could result in him trying a different one if needed. This would involve him returning to his plan and adapting it. Supporting Adam to evaluate the impact of his chosen approaches will help to ensure that his future learning develops because of the metacognitive process. Weaving metacognition teaching habits into our daily practice can help pupils like Adam to know what to do when faced with a new challenge.
Oh. Maybe I need a bit more explanation because I still don't really understand. That was very helpful. That was very nice. But maybe I'm not as big brained as I thought, because I'm like, okay, I still don't understand what it is. Let's go, get away from me. BBC. I'm not signing into you. I've got beef with BBC. It stems from how many paper mache Tracy Islands me and my brothers made, and we didn't ever get a blue Peter badge like we deserved. So yeah, it's on site with BBC. I will say the BBC bite size is quite useful, and this might help with the I don't understand what this is. So, metacognition. Thinking of it sounds really complex. It really just means thinking about and managing your own thinking. You might think it sounds difficult to do, but something you're probably already used to doing without realizing. Whoa. I'm not watching another video because I nearly fell asleep. So we're not doing that. A baby. Because there's a developmental psychologist person explaining it. Okay, I'm reading highlights. There are 2 main parts of metacognition: knowledge and regulation. Metacognitive knowledge is the knowledge we have about our strengths and weaknesses, as well as tasks and strategies whilst we learn and study. This includes knowledge such as I focus better in the afternoon once I have fully woken up, or in this month's maths task, I will need to memorize equations. Metacognitive regulation is the term for the strategies and tools we use to manage our thinking. You're engaging with metacognitive regulation. I read that wrong. You are engaging with metacognitive regulation when you plan an essay or notice that you have not understood something you're reading in a textbook and so decide to take notes or test yourself. Technically, I'm doing it now then. I guess. Look at us go. Using metacognitive knowledge and regulation is a good way to boost your learning. And the great thing about metacognition is that the more aware we are of our own thinking, the including our strengths and areas to work on, the more efficient we can be with how we focus our attention and develop skills. The more we practice metacognition, the more strategies we have available to us. The way they formatted this is just throwing me off. Because I can't read. I can't read out loud. And this is just maybe it's always formatted where I'm just like, what? Okay. Okay, here's a task to help you practice metacognition. Spend a moment thinking of the sticking point from a task or lesson. Pick one thing that is difficult or confusing, and then think about what you can do to help make it more manageable. Maybe by breaking it down to smaller chunks or trying a different strategy. Okay. Okay, so I think how I can understand this is it's like how I would approach housework. It's not one big task, it's lots of little ones. And I have to evaluate, okay, what can I do with the time I have and my ability. For example, I struggle carrying heavy things up and down the stairs because I have a bad back. So Barry has to do that if he's able to. So yeah, I think that's cool. Let's have more information about that. Because not everybody can approach things. Not everyone approaches these things in the same way. So if, for example, breaking it down into smaller tasks, I find that to be helpful myself. Or remembering, how did I do a similar thing? I've used that before. What was the first one? This one. Let's have a read of this. Because one thing we're still doing, we are still looking for reliable sources. We are still looking for potentially any signs of bias. It's difficult with this because I think if it's a teaching method, you can't really not be biased because you want people to do it or you have an opinion about it. It's not, oh, maybe it's neutral, maybe it's not. I want to have a look at this fact sheet after that. We're also making sure we're reading different opinions. Not opinions necessarily in this case, but different approaches, different definitions, to make sure that we're getting a well-rounded explanation. And also because I didn't really understand the first thing that we watched, this video. It may have made sense to other people, but it didn't make sense to me. It's always, I think that is part of the metacognition. Maybe I don't understand it completely yet. We're gonna keep looking. Oh, misconceptions. Wonderful. Oh, okay. First one. Metacognition is simply thinking about thinking. Although metacognition does involve thinking about one's thinking, it is more complex than that. A large part of metacognition is actively monitoring one's own learning and making changes to one's own learning behaviors and strategies based on this monitoring. Yes, we had that in the video and in the BBC Bite Size. It's not just thinking about thinking, put simply, because in the video they had two different examples of how to approach using it, and the BBC Bite Size explained it a different way as well. So yeah, that tracks. Number 2 of misconceptions. Any strategy used while performing a cognitive task is metacognitive. Oh. This could be where I'm maybe getting confused. This is not always the case. For example, using phonics rules to decode an unknown word when reading is a cognitive strategy. Flavel, in 1981, identified a useful distinction between the two. Strategies used to make cognitive progress are cognitive strategies. Strategies used to monitor cognitive progress are metacognitive strategies. It's a lot of big words. A lot of big words in one thing. I guess I understand that. I'm not entirely sure. Strategies used to make cognitive progress to cognitive strategies. So the difference is the making the cognitive progress and then monitoring the cognitive process. So how I understand this as I take a moment to think, because what I've done is reread this and go, what is the difference? And the difference is make and monitor. So it would be, I need to understand what the monitoring is, and I think I'll understand it. So another misconception is that a teacher plays no role in their learners' metacognitive practice. So although a metacognitive approach typically focuses on allowing the learner to take control of their own learning, the teacher is still required to help in the development of their metacognitive skills. For example, the teacher needs to set clear learning objectives, demonstrate and monitor metacognitive strategies, and prompt and encourage their learners. Yeah, that would be nice. Wish my teachers had been like this. I think maybe I had some teachers who would totally have been down for this. Oh. Number 4. How many of these are? I'm not reading all these out. Okay. Metacognition is only applicable to older learners. Some researchers, those two, believe that metacognitive skills do not emerge until a child is 8 to 10 years old. However, those two, different people, document a number of studies which indicate evidence of young children's metacognitive abilities. Findings include children as young as 18 months demonstrating error correction strategies, 5-year-old children showing awareness of forgetting, and 3 to 5-year-olds exhibiting a wide range of verbal and non-verbal indicators of metacognitive processes in literacy and reception classrooms. These studies demonstrate that although young children may not be able to describe the metacognitive processes they're exhibiting, it does not mean that these processes are not occurring. Fun. Okay, so these are just strategies for encouraging. I know that one. Barry shows me this. Do you show me this with the knuckles? And the ones that have 31st, 31 days in them, Barry? I feel like you showed me once. Okay. Oh, first you order the stream. Yeah, we're like 15 minutes in. First you order the stream. I'm not reading all that. Let's look at this fact sheet. Must have been some other guy. Oh, I'm getting myself in trouble. I think it's your mother that showed me before you get all sassy. Oh no, I've put my foot in it now, haven't I? Okay. I think this is wonderful. This is definitely something that we can use as we learn about critical thinking and we improve our critical thinking skills and we learn more about logical fallacies, because I think everybody could have a dose of this the same way they could everybody have a touch of critical thinking skills, because there's no harm in stopping and evaluating where you are or thinking about how you're feeling or about how something is processing in your brain. I think this is wonderful. These two things paired together, I think, could do a great good to a lot of people. Because sometimes, especially with things that people think are just obvious, are not obvious to everybody. Or some people think that a lot of things is common sense. Everyone knows this. It's not necessarily true. And I had no idea this was a thing, and it turns out that it's something that I probably have been doing for most of my life. Learning how to approach a learning task. Yes. Because, yes, I've been doing that. Monitoring one's own comprehension of text and self-assessing and self-correcting. So we've shown an example of that. Of me being slightly not big-brained. Wonderful. I'm becoming aware of distracting stimuli. That's a big one. That's a big one. I will definitely include these and some information about this in the Patreon in a post, so it'll all be in the same place. Because it may not necessarily be directly linked to critical thinking, but I think it'll help because not everybody can approach these things. Wait a minute. Technically, the infographic I made is an example of this. I'm sure it is. Let's have a look. Let's see if I can pull it up. Where is it? Downloads. There it is. So, yes. Questions to ask yourself. Where, yeah. This is. Whoa. Get away from me, Adblock. This is could potentially be some of it. If I'm understanding metacognitive cognition correctly, I think this is part of it. Of, breaking things down, asking yourself questions of how to solve a problem. Kind of. Maybe. Maybe I need to learn more about metacognition. We shall see. We'll have another quick look through why I want this closed. There you go. Thank you kindly. I'm definitely not watching an hour of someone explaining this to me. I think my head will explode. Metacognition is the act of observing and reflecting on our thoughts. Okay. So, does it literally mean? Let's see. Definition of. I can't spell. Definition. Fergalicious definition. I don't know why I thought about it. Definition is an extra I. So, according to Oxford Languages, it doesn't literally mean above cognition. So that's the first red flag. Okay, so no, that's Merriam-Webster. That first one appears from the Oxford Dictionary. So it's two dictionaries have said that's what the definition is. Cambridge Dictionary. Knowledge, understanding your own thinking. Get away from me. Okay, so related word, metacognitive. Let's see if that means nope. Okay, let's read some of this. Let's see how many more red. Let's count them. I got the one red flag. Put simply, metacognition is thinking about thinking. Now, see, we read from Cambridge that that's not that. That was one of the misconceptions. So, 2 red flags. 4. What website is this? Nest Labs. You're on watch. It's being aware of your own awareness so you can determine the best strategies for learning and problem solving, as well as when to apply them. Okay. And then we know this, the metacognitive knowledge, the metacognitive regulation, and experiences. And then that's right, what we know about yourself and others in terms of thinking, problem solving, and learning processes, activities and strategies used to control your thinking, the thoughts and feelings you have while learning something new. What they're not including is previous experience, like knowledge of the task. So it's a half red flag. Declarative knowledge. We've not come across this, unless I skipped it. Knowledge you have about yourself as a learner, what factors can influence your performance. The more you know about yourself, the higher metacognitive knowledge will be. Okay, that does track with what we read before. The second is procedural knowledge. What you know about learning in general, such as learning strategies you read about or that you have applied in the past. That's mainly it. Applied in the past. The more you learn about learning how to learn. Okay, the hyperlinks. I'm like, is this spell check? The more procedural knowledge you have. And then conditional knowledge refers to knowing when and why you should use declarative and procedural knowledge, allocating your mental resources in a smart way. I'm sorry, the McDonald's is coming back. The highest level of mentalization. I think that's a bit of a bold claim. None of the other academic things we've looked at have made that claim. So I think, yeah, that's I can't remember how many flags I have. But we're almost at a 5. Yes, it can maximize your potential to think, learn, and create. Why you don't burn yourself out. Learn better. They're making a lot of claims about metacognition without any references. I know I kind of glossed over the references in the other ones, but they had them. Here's one. According to Dr. Marcus Lang. From where? From what? Maybe that one. Yeah. Okay. So they provide in the source. All right. Good. Research is defined. Okay. And that's the hyperlink. Okay. According to scientists. I'm clicking on this because these are starting to give me vibes. Okay, look at all this. Okay. Right, so this is an academic journal. Okay, so there's not just like a link to something I saw on Facebook, which is good. And this goes into the planning, monitoring, and evaluating. How to developing metacognition. Because I don't think many people know about metacognition. I don't think many people know what it is. Like, I had no idea. I've never heard it before. So that's fun. And I was like, I thought it was like a conspiracy theory. That's all I thought. I was like, oh, okay. Look into it. Could be anything. I was kind of expecting that. Glad it wasn't, to be honest. keeping a learning journal. We've seen that. I kind of glanced over it of approaches that we saw from, I think it was Cambridge. So yeah, this is some, you know, a couple of bold claims and some red flags, but overall, a decent source. I wouldn't include it myself because of the red flags. I'm like, nah. The first one being, it doesn't literally mean, nah, that's fun. Alright. My brain is now tired of metacognition. I want to know if it is 2 words. No, it is just 1 word. So the whole time, the AI is on. Go away. Because I'm sure I saw there was a quiz. I love a quiz. I want to see if there is one. Metacognition test or quiz. I need it. I'm going to type it so I can type minus AI. Okay. Can't really test for it, which is fine. Getting started. Okay. Definitely start. Yeah, this is nice to know. Okay. We're gonna look at some cat videos. And then we're gonna jump into the strawman fallacies. Instagram. Pull it up on here. So I don't show you my feed. It might be something terrible. Or could more likely, just in case it's like a friend of mine's posted something personal, maybe. Or someone's child. I don't want that. Yeah. Oh, that's a nice pic. Oh no, that's amazing. I just found out a friend of mine, she's having twins. Yes, I'm very glad I didn't open that up for the whole world to see. The whole world see my reaction now. Oh, good for them. Twins. Oh, my darling. One's hard enough. 2 though. Oof. Good luck. Oh, I got loads of baby stuff. Anyway. Cat videos. Oh.
谢谢。
That was cute. Oh, this one looks silly. Oh, cats are so silly.
Arthur, what's the matter? I've had an INES.
Oh my god, that cat's meow.
You've already had your treats. You've had your breakfast. You've had your medicine. So what's the problem? Are you upset that I had to lie in? Well, I'm sorry. I've had a busy week and I'm tired. And then you came to my door, didn't you? You did.
Oh, she's being told.
You shouted at my door, just like that, yes. To make sure that I woke up. And now here we are.
Aww.
And you're still shouting at me. You're not getting any treats off. Nope. That's right. None for you. She woke me up.
Okay, that's enough of that. What a silly looking cat. I like the black and white cat. That's really loud. I'm so sorry. Okay. I was gonna say we have one more. We gotta land on an orange card. Why are you eating soap bubbles? Anyway, okay. Back to being big brained. Now, I confuse the straw man fallacy and the ad hominem fallacy pretty much all the time, which is not good. If we can remember what the ad hominem fallacy is, that is when you focus on something that's not related to the argument to try and discredit the person making the argument. For example, excuse my burps. Let's say you were having an argument with someone, and you were a real housewife or not, and then someone suddenly starts talking about your eyebrows instead of what you're arguing about. That's ad hominem. Because someone I know always goes on about someone's eyebrows. Don't they, Barry? Yeah. Now, I think I know what the straw man is. We're going to look it up. Is a straw man. Fallacy. I can't just click it. Minus AI. Oh, lots of big words. Oh, there's a critical thinking study guide? Nice. Let's have a look at that. We're gonna have a look. I am going to open that in a new tab. And then open that. It's just gonna be that post. Okay. Only because just in case again, someone I know, if it's logged into my Facebook, has posted like something personal, picture of the kid or something like that. And we're gonna look at these different examples. We'll have, oh, this one was fun. Thou shalt not commit logical fallacies. We'll have them. And that's enough for now. We'll go from then and then we'll keep looking. Oh, there's a video. How long is it? Doesn't say.
Imagine when you were younger and you really wanted to go somewhere with your friends and you were told that you couldn't go. Instead of seeing the logic behind the decision, you might have gotten angry and thought you had the worst parents ever and all they cared about was ruining your life. Ugh! Unfortunately, in situations like this, we may tend to shift blame away from the actual issue to something else. And not only that, but we tend to exaggerate the motives behind the issue far past their logical end. Arguments that attempt to divert our attention from the real issue being put forth are called red herring arguments. In this lesson, we will discuss one particular subset of a red herring argument, known as the straw man fallacy. A straw man fallacy occurs when a person ignores another person's position on an issue and instead exaggerates, misrepresents, or creates a distorted version of that position. We tend to do this because by exaggerating someone else's position, it makes the other person's position easier to attack. The origin of the title of this particular fallacy is not completely known. However, one theory is that it comes from a technique used to physically train real fighters using straw dummies. It is much easier to practice fighting techniques against an opponent made of straw rather than one made of flesh and bone. Similarly, it's easier to mentally fight an opponent if you construct a version of your opponent that is more easily defeated by extending your opponent's arguments beyond their original point until their stance appears ridiculous.
Oh. Okay. I maybe need a bit more explanation. Thinking is power, this page has come from. Today's fallacy, this is from July 2024. Straw man. Definition and explanation. A straw man argument misrepresents an opponent's argument to make it easier to dismiss. The straw man can take many forms, but it often involves distorting, exaggerating, or oversimplifying, or taking parts out of context, and can be quite effective if you're not paying attention. By building a straw version of the original argument, they could more easily knock it down and claim victory. However, it is fallacious. I'm probably saying that wrong. Sounds dirty. Because they are attacking a position their opponent doesn't hold. So anti-science arguments often employ strawman fallacies, as it's much easier to defeat strongly supported scientific conclusions when those conclusions are misrepresented. How to counter? First, consider the possibility that the strawman argument was unintentional and that the other person doesn't understand the original argument. Sometimes, however, the strawman is purposeful. It's a purposeful attempt to persuade others through deception. Either way, point out the use of the straw man by explaining how their version differs from your original position. Okay, so there's an example they've got here of two people holding cats. I think that's a cat. No, one holding a cat, one's holding a dog. The person holding the cat is saying cats make great pets. They're playful, affectionate, and low maintenance. And the person holding the dog says, so you're saying you hate dogs. Which is so silly. That's not at all what they said. They just I see this all the time on the internet. And now I know what it is. Oh. People do this all the time. I understand now. Anyway. Yeah, so now I understand. By exaggerating this, we're on now to the illogical fallacy is a straw man. Exaggerated, misrepresenting, or just completely fabricating someone's argument. It's much easier to present your own position as being reasonable. But this kind of dishonesty serves to undermine honest, rational debate. So their example is, after Will said that we should put more money into health and education, Warren responded by saying that he was surprised that Will hates our country so much that he wants to leave it defenseless by cutting military spending. Like, that's silly. That happens so often in comment sections about politics. I'm not going to bring in politics to this conversation because that'd be irrelevant. But yeah, do yourself a favor. Go and count these the next time you see a nice, juicy Facebook post. Especially here in Wales, there's an election coming up in May. Ooh-wee. It's everywhere. And I had no idea the whole time. It was a logical fallacy. It's very fun. I'm going to look for another example. Because I feel like I understand what that is now. But I want to just make sure that I do understand. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to the second page of Google. Oh. Okay, let's go for Cambridge University Press. I don't want AI examples. Okay, third page of Google. Fallacy files. Let's give that a go. Barry, I can hear noises outside. What are the noises outside, Barry? It's not the police again, is it? I hope not. Oh god, third order, probably more than 3, but car doors. Well, people need to stop slamming them. I can hear them all the way up here with my headphones on. That's bad. This is a bit big-brained. Jesus Christ. What is this? GeoCities? I'm showing my age. Okay. I will look for Strawman stuff. Fallacy examples minus AI. And then we'll probably finish there. And let the IT manager go to bed early. He's got to get up early. Oh, here we are. Oh, it was like totally right there. I already had this open. Anyway. A straw man argument is when someone sets up and then disputes an assertion that is not actually being made. For example, if someone says they love the color blue and someone else argues that red is better, asserting that the first person obviously hates the color red, this would be a straw man argument. I'm laughing because it's just such a silly thing to do, but it happens all the time. Like, this is probably the one that I see most frequently just being on the internet. Especially with the version of the internet that I'm on. Even down to I like to play Baldur's Gate 3, as you know, on my channel, as the game I stream. And I, of course, will then go on Instagram, search Baldur's Gate 3, and look at videos of tips, this and this, or just people making videos about their characters. And one was somebody just saying that they enjoyed a certain character, that was their favorite character, and that every single playthrough they always made sure to recruit that character and have them in their party the whole time, and they just really vibed with this one character. Fine, right? It's a game, it's not that deep. And the comment section was full of, so you just hate the rest of them then, do you? Or do you hate this person then? Didn't realize you did the... And I'm just like, oh my god, go outside. It's a game, it's not that deep. And then, of course, I pained myself by reading the comments on politics posts, just because sometimes I find it fun to find the bots. But yeah, this happens all the time, and I'm not going to give examples of a political version of this because I'm not going to, especially as there's an election coming up. I think armed with this knowledge, it should be obvious to anyone else when they see it now. I don't need to give an example. We've already learned many. But yeah, it goes from an extreme. And like it I don't know the last time this happened in real life to me, where someone's like, oh, so you just hate this then. But of course on the internet anything can happen. Wonderful. I feel very smart. I will, if I've got time. If my 9-month-old boss will allow me to have some time to post these resources into the Patreon, because I hope to, because I think the metacognition is wonderful for whoever needs it. I need to use it, and now more than ever we need to realize that straw men arguments are not good, and that they're everywhere. Oh, so there's some other more arguments there that are a bit spicier, shall we say. So there's that. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for learning and using our big brain here on this Wednesday. Mainly you, Barry. I hope you've learned something today. Because if you haven't, you totally hate learning. Alright. Today's Wednesday. Friday, if I have time, and like I said, the 9-month-old boss sleeps, I'll be streaming Baldur's Gate 3 again. And next week, I don't know what the topic is. I am open to suggestions of things to look into, like I looked into metacognition, not knowing anything what it was about. But if I am sent something and within the first Google it's anti-Semitic, it's not going. It's not happening. That's my only rule. Or any type of, if it's Islamophobic, it's homophobic, any of the rest of it, it's not happening. More often than not, though, majority of conspiracy theories all lead one road. So I will end like I did last time. Be nice to each other, don't be anti-Semitic, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye! I'm stuck. My hand got stuck. Okay, bye.